Hi, welcome to Week in Review, where we look at some of the news making headlines. I'm Phil O'Connor, the Live Enterprise Director, joined today by my esteemed colleagues. I've got Dale Denwalt from the Capitol coming in to visit. From sports, we've got Darnell Mayberry and my old friend from business, Don Mecoy. Let's get right to it, guys. News from the Capitol, a little turmoil at the highest ranks of state government. What happened this week?
That's right. Well, it's a busy first couple of weeks in the legislature, and Thursday was probably the busiest. First, we'll talk about Real ID. It's something that we've expected for quite a while, that the legislature is going to do something to let Oklahomans get on airplanes and get into federal buildings after the Department of Homeland Security starts tamping down on that. Many years ago, the federal government said you have to have a really secure ID system, and Oklahoma said we don't want to do it. It's too much of a burden, or it's too much of an invasion of privacy. So far, Oklahoma hasn't complied. But this year, I think Oklahoma is going to comply with Real ID and start producing these licenses that will get Oklahomans into federal buildings and onto airplanes.
And the prospect before that was basically you would have had to have a passport or some other form of federal ID or some other thing that would work.
That's right.
And of course, everybody boards with a driver's license for the most part.
Mm-hmm. And there's still a lot of apprehension, and that's why the legislature and the bill that they're advancing right now that just passed the State House would give Oklahomans the right to keep their current ID that won't allow them these privileges, or go with the Real ID. And the two IDs cost the same, but if you want a Real ID, you're going to have to go get one. You're going to have to pay for it.
Okay. Then there's a little distance growing between the governor and the lieutenant governor this week. What happened there?
Right, that's right. So we know that Governor Mary Fallin, one of the ways that she proposes to fill the budget hole of almost $900 million at this point is to raise state sales tax on services that currently aren't taxed, things like haircuts, some medical procedures, auto repair. It's 164 types of services that right now you don't pay sales tax on. And the lieutenant governor, his number one job has, for the last 6 or 7 years, has been to recruit business in the state and be the business advocate. And that's precisely what he was in the governor's cabinet, is the small business advocate. And so what he did on Thursday morning surprised everybody, surprised the governor, is resigned from that cabinet, resigned from that position as small business advocate. He's still the lieutenant governor, but by resigning as a small business advocate, he says the governor needs someone who is loyal to her and supportive of her policies in that position, and he just isn't.
And then the governor responded with her own press release questioning the move and saying, hey, we'd really rather have anybody at the table even if they disagree with this. Yeah. Is this is all more symbolic than anything else, right? I mean, is this really a group that sits down at a table and really hashes things out, or is this more, I mean, and what is the perceived motive that people think is going on here? Is he trying to distance himself from being linked to any tax increase, looking toward potential future run?
2018, that's right. Well, the governor's cabinet, as far, don't think of it like the national cabinet. Think of it more like that these cabinet members are sort of overseeing broad policy goals for various state agencies. And specifically for the small business advocate, that Governor Fallin sends out Lieutenant Governor to talk to businesses thinking about coming to Oklahoma, sends out the Lieutenant Governor to talk about businesses wanting to expand. And so as a small business advocate, that's been his number one job, is to be, to make Oklahoma business friendly. And he's done that in spades. And you're right, he is considering a run for governor in 2018. And this is kind of one of the first sort of public campaign statements, I think, that he's made here, because he's saying to the people of Oklahoma, listen, I don't want you to have to pay these taxes. I don't want these businesses to have to possibly lose money because the sales taxes are going up. And so he didn't come out and say that it was a campaign statement, but a lot of people can read between the lines and say that this is a way for him to distance himself from the governor's plan.
Love it. Always love the palace intrigue, Great. Let's turn to the toy box for a second. So, a superstar decides to stay home.
Yep. Trae Young made his announcement official yesterday. The Norman North High School point guard. He's going to the University of Oklahoma, which makes a lot of people around here happy and proud. that a local is staying at home. He's the number 2 point guard in the nation. He's a big-time recruit, 5-star recruit, a McDonald's All-American. And the University of Oklahoma has had those guys over the years, but just not as much as some of these elite programs like the Kansases, the Kentuckys, the Dukes. So it was really good to. Not so much K-State. Sorry, Phil. But
Rolando Blackman.
But it is really good that a local product has stayed home and is choosing to attend the University of Oklahoma.
And I haven't had a chance to see this guy play, but he's a magical scorer, I guess, right? What is his game? I mean, what does he do?
Well, for those watching, I would say if you've seen Steph Curry, you've seen Trae Young. I mean, he's basically the high school version of Stephen Curry for the Golden State Warriors. The guy can pull up from 30, 35 feet. If he crosses half court, he's within his shooting range. He's that good, and he's really good at ball handling, getting to the basket, using his dribble to get to the basket, and he's a really good finisher as well. So as he's gotten older and stronger, he's become a lot better at finishing at the rim and finishing through contact. So he's going to be a really, really fun player to watch on the offensive end as he matriculates at the University of Oklahoma.
Anything they can do to beat Kansas, I'm all for that. So if that helps, I'm in. Also, maybe drama this weekend in the NBA. All-Star weekend, another chance to bring together two guys that I'm not sure they're getting along.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant on the same team for the first time since Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals last year. So it's going to be interesting to see how they interact in New Orleans this weekend at All-Star Weekend. They're going to be on the Western Conference All-Star team together. And we asked them last week while they were here, while the Warriors were in town, how are you guys going to handle this? And both guys try to sort of downplay it and say, we don't know. We're going to figure it out. And I just don't think they're going to talk to each other. The relationship is contentious. There's a lot of acrimony there. You saw it play out on the court last Saturday night in Chesapeake Energy Arena. It just seems to me like they're a long way away from mending that relationship. So you've got people like the Warriors coach Steve Kerr, who's coaching the West All-Star team, saying he might want to broker a sit down and try to get in between the two, but I don't see it happening.
I mean, I just literally wonder if they're on this court at the same time in the game. He's never going to give him the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't really see them passing to each other at any point.
And not just Kevin Durant, but you've got three other Warriors in Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, who are also All-Stars. And then, like I mentioned, Steve Kerr, the Warriors coach. So there's a lot of questions about whether or not they're going to play those guys all five together.
So it won't all just be about the dunk contest this time.
No.
It can
There's some
be fun to
drama with
watch.
the All-Star
You going to
weekend.
watch, Don, or will you watch the
I'll
All-Star
probably
game?
watch. I don't think Russell gets a lot of assists in the All-Star game anyway.
He likes to shoot.
Does anybody get
Everyone
his
likes
assists
to
in
shoot.
the
He's the
All-Star game?
two-time defending MVP of the game because he's scored like 40 points the last two games. So there's not a lot of passing going on anyway.
I mean, if I'm the coach, I'm just curious if you even put him on the floor at the same time, or just keep him in two separate lines.
That's a question. That's a question that people are asking, and I don't think Steve Kerr can do that. I mean, I think that would be a pretty low move if Steve Kerr tried to put Russell Westbrook on the court with four Warriors, given the way Kevin Durant left, given which team he joined when he left. I just think that would be a pretty low move for Steve Kerr if he did that to Russell Westbrook.
And I don't get the sense that that's the kind of guy that he is
No,
either.
not at all.
He seems like a pretty good dude. Don, a lot of stuff going on in business. Good news on the energy front for Devin.
Yeah, it's earnings season, so we're getting all these public companies reporting their earnings for the fourth quarter and for the entirety of 2016. And Devin, our big local energy company here, made a profit in the fourth quarter, $331 million, which was impressive, particularly when you look back at the same quarter a year earlier. They lost over $4 billion in the fourth quarter of 2015. So that they've kind of turned that around. And another trend that we've been seeing with Devon and Chesapeake and Continental, they're all talking about their exploration budgets for 2017. And as the oil prices have recovered and stabilized above $50, they're all looking to spend more money drilling wells. And at the same time, during this oil price collapse, they did a lot to really find ways to save money when they were drilling. So production numbers have stayed pretty high, even as they have idled many of their drilling rigs. So as they start bringing these rigs back online, the production's probably going to come up. Devin this week talked about, that in Oklahoma's Scoop and Stack plays, which is one of the hottest oil plays in the nation, that they could possibly have as many as 20 wells being drilled on a single pad, where you would have, go down to different depths and go out with different horizontals in different directions, and they can really produce a lot of oil. So things are really picking back up.
That relentless hunt for efficiency.
Yeah, they got good at it. Is Rolando Blackman still alive? I'm sorry.
Okay, and then speaking of anniversaries of great things, the Skirvin 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, the Skirvin, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, it was totally neglected. It was empty. There were pigeons living inside of it, but it was a downtown landmark building. It was one of the great hotels in Oklahoma City. It was the great hotel in Oklahoma City at the time that it was built. Through a private-public partnership where the city put up some money that they have recovered, they renovated the Skirvin, reopened it as one of the class hotels here. That was 10 years ago, and they recently did another renovation of the Skirvin just to kind of update the lobby. And we're going to, our Steve Lackmeyer, who covers downtown development, is going to have a story about the anniversary and some things they've got planned, and just kind of a look back as well as how it got to where it is.
And in that renovated lobby on Thursday nights, you can see our own Dave Morris.
Is that right? Does he
Tinkling
play in
the Ivories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And yes, Rolando is still alive and doing very well, thank you.
That was a long time ago.
And I will just remind you that Trey Young will be playing for Lon Kruger, another great Wildcat, and you're welcome. So it's the best thing that ever has happened to Oklahoma basketball in a long time.
We like Lon.
You should. He's a great guy. So that is the kind of insight, the kind of stuff that you'll only learn about here. Pick up our paper, check out our website. You'll like us, I'm sure. Subscribe. We'll be back again next week with everything that's important to tell you about. Look forward to that. Thanks.